be a sponge, and then bring the juice.
By focusing on your improvement, by focusing on your progress, and eliminating any fixed mindset that you may have and acts of perfectionism, then you encourage your own mastery.
On some level, we do what we want to do 24 hours a day. Now, sometimes it may not seem like that, but if I'm choosing to work instead of sleep, what I'm actually saying is keeping my job is more important than sleeping.
I'm tired of this. I'm tired of getting beat. What can I do to get over this hump? So mentally, that's when I kind of put that forefront, like, hey, it's either all or nothing.
I like to put failure in quotations because I don't believe that failure is true failure if you're looking at it with the right mindset.
The truth is, the journey to greatness is hard. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes focus, and every day you have to decide what you value, what you want to pursue, and what you want to achieve. And if you dig deep enough, if you push hard enough, we all have what it takes to be great. Welcome to the Edge of Greatness. Hello and welcome to the Edge of Greatness with your coach, Charles Schultz. I'm excited to have you here. We are getting close to Christmas, and the big thing with the new year is taking the show to television. And before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's episode, I've got two things for you. First off, should I change the way I do my intro once I start doing the television thing? So, do you like Edge of Greatness with Coach Charles Schultz, or should I include Edge of Greatness tagline, Charles Schultz? Tell me what your thoughts are. I'm open to some suggestions as I tongue-tie myself here this morning. I don't know if I want to change it, but I'm in that place where, I'm making some other changes, so let's see what fits, and I'm open to kind of testing the waters a little bit and seeing what sounds good and what doesn't. So another announcement before we get into the fun stuff for today. With the television opportunity being available now, there are some commercial slots that are going to be opening up on the show. So there are, I believe with the length of mine, I'll have to confirm this, but with the length of my show, there'll be 2 30-second commercial segments. I am looking for sponsors to fill those. Otherwise, the network will just fill them with their own sponsors, and it is what it is. However, I'd love to help support you. If you've been listening to the show this long and you've been a fan and you are excited as I am that we're going to television, maybe I can help you out. So shoot me an email, charles@theedgeofgreatnessproject.com. Let's discuss what it is you need, and maybe it's a commercial spot. Maybe it's just a segment, announcement, and a few other things that we can kind of tie into get your brand, get your business, get your event some recognition. But one of the things I really wanted to dive into today was fear and anxiety. And the reason why I feel like that is important at this particular moment is with the new year coming on, and a lot of people start setting goals, and a lot of people start to think about, I want to do this in 2024, I want to do that, and I want to attack these things, and I'm got all these great ideas. But then when we get to the end of 2024, just like we're getting at the end of 2023, we look back and so many people didn't attack their goals. They didn't achieve the things that they wanted to. And most of the time, a lot of the issues comes down to fear. We hesitate because of fear. We don't act because of fear. We stop going because of fear. And it's a common issue. It's a common problem. I hear it a lot that, what if I fail and they think of this, or what will my friends say, or my family say, or what will this person do, or what, and a bunch of what ifs, right? A lot of looking at it from a standpoint of a negative perspective. Fear is as Tim Kite told me during an interview, false evidence appearing real. And I like that because it's a manifestation of a future event that hasn't happened yet that causes us to feel this sensation of fear. I was listening to a video the other day by Mel Robbins that excitement and fear are the same in our body. Our brain tells us it's different. That's a powerful realization as well, because when we're excited and our brain tells us that this is a big moment, we're excited, it forces us to focus our attention and to do better work, right? A big game, and you start to get those little nerves and jitters, and you get the butterflies, right? And you're getting really pumped up, and you're excited to get on the field because you know it's a big moment. But the other person who's never been in that moment, they have those same feelings, and they translate it to, I'm not ready. This isn't my moment. I'm scared. Those two people have different outcomes, different responses, different ways of viewing that particular set of emotions, but the feelings are the same. And that's an interesting kind of add-in to this whole situation, is that when you start to feel that fear, can you turn it into excitement? Can you change it into an emotion that says, yeah, let's go. This is a big moment. I'm gonna crush it. You know? And I like to talk about fear a lot because I believe it's one of the main reasons why a lot of people stop pursuing their dreams, which is also why courage is one of the pillars of the pursuit of greatness. It's one of the 7 pillars. Because in order to achieve the excellence and the greatness that you want in your life, there's going to be a moment or moments where you're going to have to attack fear. You're going to have to walk with fear. You're going to have to be side by side in a moment that makes you uncomfortable. And if you're unable to navigate those moments where fear shows up, you're going to find yourself looking back on a life where you said, man, I wish I coulda. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? And that's not where we want to be. We want to look back and go, man, look at all that I accomplished. Look at all I tried. Look at all the things that I went after. And I think when you start to eliminate the expectation of results, you can start to push past this feeling of fear. Because like I mentioned earlier, fear is a future event that hasn't occurred. It's an expectation of something that might happen. Now, I'm not saying you can't get scared. There are moments that are scary. Standing in front of 1,000 people to give a speech, that's scary. But you can't let the scary moment dictate fear, which makes you think, oh, I'm going to mess up in this moment. And that's the fear part from performing in that moment, right? Face to face with a lion is scary. But if you let the fear win, you freeze. If you let your body and mind work together to stay in the moment, you can navigate how you're supposed to respond. Now, I don't know how to respond in that moment. I am going to be in that moment, probably filled with fear. But I would assume that if I'm going to go on an adventure that has a chance of meeting a lion, I will do the work necessary to understand what's my response if I'm face to face with one. What do I do in this situation? And that's the other part of this. Fear typically occurs, at least in my experience, because we're unprepared. Or we believe we're unprepared. And we don't trust the fact that we've put in the time and the effort and all of these things to take on this moment. You can overcome a lot by preparing for something that might happen without worrying about it as a fear factor. I'm hoping that makes sense right now. Because I'm a big believer that we should plan for potential obstacles. We should plan for things to go wrong. In the event that they do, we're prepared on what our response is. This is different than worrying about what might happen, right? We want to be aware of the things that could go wrong, but we don't want to dwell on them. We don't want to be stuck in the what ifs. So that way we can take action. So a lot of my experience with fear has come from taking chances recently, diving into places that I don't necessarily feel I'm ready to be in, but acting anyway. I believe I've mentioned this before once or twice, but I'm going to do it again. You know, I started the podcast without ever having done an interview or been on the mic or been in front of a camera. There was some fear there. You know, what if nobody listens? What if I sound terrible? What if I don't know what to say? What if I interview the wrong person? What if I don't know how to interview somebody? A lot of what ifs, a lot of things that could go wrong. At the end of the day, I decided that it's more important for me to grow, learn, and develop and just act than to worry about what ifs and what might. You know, the same is true with starting my gym, my coaching business. There's always going to be concerns, thoughts, things that push into your mind that say, don't do this. We're wired to protect ourselves. There is always going to be something that triggers that you probably shouldn't go there feeling. Now, when that happens, something that I've done to start to combat that is I ask myself, what's the worst that could happen? Am I okay with that outcome? And if it's, you know, one of those situations where I ask what's the worst that could happen and I mess up and people laugh, so, or I could potentially twist my ankle, I guess, in this situation. If I'm doing like a hard trail run or some type of physical activity, there's a chance of injury, I guess. Right? Now, there's a reason why I haven't skydived at this moment, because that carries with it a risk of death. That's more than I'm willing to take on. That's more than I'm willing to risk. I've got 3 young kids and a wife that I'd like to be here for. Odds of me dying in a skydiving accident? Slim. Not zero. And see, so this is how I evaluate whether or not the fear I have for a situation is warranted. If I were to have a thought that says, I'm going to go play in traffic, what's the worst that could happen? I'm probably going to get hit by a car. Let's not do that. That's a bad decision. We're going to go a different direction. But most times in this day and age, the fear is a fear of embarrassment, a fear of failing, a fear of not doing well, a fear of what my peers might think. Don't let those situations stop you from acting. What's the worst that can happen? You get what? You're embarrassed, and for a few days, people talk about you? Okay. I'd rather be in the arena making the mistakes than on the sidelines wondering, what if I would have done it well? What if I would have done it right? Because you can't get better if you don't give it any effort and you don't give it any try. You can't cross the finish line of a race you never start. Go start a race. 2024, start some races. You may not cross the finish line in 2024, but I promise you, if you don't start, you won't finish. So take that for what it is. Start to attack some fear. If you have some bigger issues, some bigger fears, I'm not licensed, but I am a good listener. And I would love to help you navigate some of these issues. And if you are in need of somebody who had a little bit more help, a little more experience, a little more credentials, I've got those connections too. So once it's over my pay grade, I promise I'll pass it on to somebody who I trust and believe in can help you navigate this situation. So let's lighten it up a little bit, though, because we're getting into the holiday season. I don't know how many of my listeners out there celebrate Christmas, but I know I do. And so I like to talk a little bit about the Christmas season. And I want to hear about your situation and your traditions. So if you're listening and you made it this far, which is awesome, appreciate you for being here. I want to hear, what is your favorite Christmas tradition? Again, shoot me an email, charles@theedgeofgreatnessproject.com, or drop me a DM on Twitter. I'm always on Twitter. Tell me what your favorite tradition is. I've got two right now. So I've got an old tradition and a new tradition. I shared one from my childhood the other day on a podcast, and I'm not going to mention that one again. But one of my favorite family traditions is Christmas Eve PJs. I don't know what it is. I'm not really sure how to explain it, but there's something about opening up a present on Christmas Eve, knowing before you open it that you're going to wear it to bed that night and wear it in the morning when you open presents again. And I don't know, I just look forward to getting a new set of PJs. I am a PJ pant guy. I love it. I'm actually, the benefit of having a podcast and a video that's only from the chest up. I'm wearing PJ pants right now. And they are Christmas PJ pants. They've got nice little red and green, some little stripes going on there. And you know what? That's what I'm all about. The other thing that I've started this year, my kids are finally old enough for Elf on the Shelf. And I've heard both sides of this. I hear the parents are like, oh, it's the worst thing ever. I don't want to do it. I love it. I think it's great. And mostly for two reasons. One, watching them come down in the morning and find the elf and then laugh about where it's located or why is he up there? What's he doing? Is awesome. It's a great way to start the day. They come down, they're excited, they start looking they named him Tutu. They start looking for Tutu. And then they find him, they point him out, and they just start laughing and giggling, and that's enjoyable for me. It's more enjoyable than trying to remember that I have to move him every night. Like that, to me, it totally outweighs all of the challenge of making sure I don't put him in the same spot and move him around all the time. Even with kitchen construction going on and half of my house being off limits at this particular moment, still worth it. The other thing that I've found is, right or wrong, it helps to curb their aggression towards each other at moments where they start to get worked up because, again, we're inside more because it's cold, it's raining, it's snowing. We're not getting out. We're not burning off the same amount of energy. Unfortunately, I'd love to do more, but Tutu's watching. What's Tutu going to tell Santa if you guys keep doing this? And it's nice to have another pair of eyes on the situation to help redirect in a positive way. It's much better than me yelling and getting upset and losing my temper. I just mentioned Tutu's watching, and for whatever reason they go, "Oh, you're right, Tutu's watching. Sorry, Tutu, we'll be better." Most of the time. Now there's still moments. They're kids. They're gonna not care about Tutu and get after it and beat each other up. But ultimately, I think that it has been a positive experience, and it's one that I'm going to continue because now we've started it, and my littlest one doesn't quite fully grasp or understand it yet. So we're going to have several years of Tutu flying around our house, which is going to be fun. So, like I said, tell me some of your traditions. I want to hear what you guys got going on. The final tradition of mine is it's not truly Christmas till Die Hard. Till I watch Die Hard, until I see Hans Gruber fly, it's not Christmas. And this is the age-old debate. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? I had this conversation the other day too, and here's my one thing that I often try to lean into to make it so there's some kind of standard or regulation to whether or not it's a Christmas movie. Could the events of the movie, or would the events of the movie occur if it wasn't for Christmas? And in Die Hard, I say no. Yes, terrorist attacks happen all the time. Yes, there could be an office party that they show up and then the terrorists show up. But the fact that McClane and his wife are separated and he's trying to get back together, and then to surprise his kids, he's flown in to be here for this party. He's not flying in for a random office party. He flew in because it's Christmas. He's there because it's Christmas. And then Die Hard happens because it's there. He's there and it's Christmas. That's a Christmas party. That's a Christmas movie. That's why Die Hard will always be a Christmas movie. Violent or not, inappropriate or not, Merry Christmas. And for those of you who disagree, feel free to go up and hit that unfollow. No, I'm just kidding. I love the disagreement. So I'd love to hear why you think it's not a Christmas movie. If you can give me an answer that's as good as I think that my answer just was for why it is a Christmas movie, we might have to have you on and have a little debate, you know? So if you're someone in the camp that Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie, go ahead, share your thoughts, share your opinions. I'm going to make fun of them and laugh, but maybe down the road we can have a conversation about why you're wrong, and we'll go forward from there. So, but no, in all seriousness, I may not get another episode in before the new year. We'll see what the schedule kind of holds. I'm not holding my breath at this moment, but I do want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Happy New Year, and I look forward to seeing you coming soon on television in 2024. Love you guys. As always, keep reaching for the stars. Fall flat on your face. Remember, whenever we fall, always get up. Thank you for joining us today on the Edge of Greatness podcast. If you haven't yet, please take a minute now to subscribe and review our show. Join us again next week as we continue to dig deeper into the key components of greatness. The path to greatness is never linear, so remember to keep pursuing greatness no matter what. Keep stretching your abilities, reach for the stars, and fall flat on your face. But remember, no matter what happens, whenever we fall, always get up. Until next time, I'm Charles Schultz, and this was the Edge of Greatness podcast.